Hey all, welcome back to Olympic Foil. Today, I'm going to be doing a sort of epee bout analysis with GP Fencing. You may already know him. He's GP Fencing is a fencing YouTuber, a really excellent epee. He came third at the zonal championships this year, and he's going to be sort of introducing me to epee bout analysis, talking through like what he's looking at, how the fencers are competing against each other. We're going to be looking at Borel versus Minobe from the World Championships. On his channel, we're going to be doing the same thing but with foil, where he and I are going to look at Chupanich versus Chong together, also from the World Championships. So I'll leave a link to that down in the description. And of course, if you want to see all his excellent epee videos, including him fencing, various world champions and Olympic champions, check out his channel.
Alright, so, Mr. Olympic Foil, if that is your real name, we're going to watch Minobe and Borel as an attempt to promote more cross collaborations, because the more friends you have, the better life is. What do you know about Minobe Borel as a foilist?
Borel, I know, huge and really strong, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He is the Minotaur of Epee.
And Minobe, or is that how you say his name? Minobe?
Yep.
Okay, fence with a French grip?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
that's almost the extent of it.
well, that's still better than a lot of people. And then, so fun fact, and so Minobe actually, so coming into this, he lost his spot in the top 16, so he had to fence pools the day before, and that was like maybe one of his first times fencing pools in like 10 plus years because he's been so dominant.
Oh,
And I think before that, I don't think Borel's beaten Minobe yet in a 15. So it was a pretty rough matchup for Borel in my opinion.
yeah. Psychologically, it's not very fun.
And like you'd think like Borel is just such a strong pusher, so you'd think Minobe like would have a hard time keeping up, and the bout kind of starts that way. But then it feels like once Minobe takes over, it's beautiful. But Minobe was on fire that day. Like I was watching him fence Nick Zhang, and like his hand hits were like it was like he was giving him a manicure to that extent. Like just it was just under the guard every time. It was so clean. So if you had to guess, how would this bout go?
Well, you've just said,
Oh, right.
Borel's a presser, which, I buy that. I've seen a few, epee finals and so on. He'll
Excellent.
probably attack, and then if he gets a lead, he'll back off. I think that's good epee. Maybe not.
Oh, it's a good
If he
plan.
doesn't
Like you
get a
attack,
lead, I
and then
guess
once
he'll
you
have
don't
to
have the
keep
lead,
attacking.
leave. Then the issue a lot of
Uh,
times when people fence, like, I mean, at this level not so much, but a lot of people they get a lead and then they just kind of stop fencing, and then they wonder why the other person makes a comeback. So it's an easy trap to fall into. Like if you're fencing, like even I'm fencing, all of a sudden you just kind of stop moving. You're like, but I was leading. Then oh right, I stopped. Like I guess what I'm going to is a an active defense.
you don't know how many times they've fenced each other, right? Was it like, say, you said
Them?
Minobe won all the matches? Is that two
Uh,
matches, or is that like 10 matches?
I would say I believe it's only one.
Oh, okay.
Uh, and that was a while ago. So like realistically, they hadn't fenced each other in a while. So like I'm pretty sure, like both of them were like we're not the same people anymore.
Hmm.
Like Borel was hot too because he was coming off like a pretty convincing European Championships win.
He's really tall.
Oh, this dude is insane. Like
This is exciting.
this is a good start. Let's break it off, right? So Minobe's like going back here, and he's like, I want none of this business. Like as soon as you're here against Borel, it means he gets to push and picks when he wants to go. So Minobe was just having none of that jazz. And that lunge almost hit. and he's able to kind of control. But like, look how close these feints are, or these feints, you should say almost. So this one almost hits. He gets into a distance, kind of hops in. Maybe he's trying to like get above. Like even right here, that's pretty close. Or at least we'll assume on this quality of camera. And then this one is also really close. I'm pretty sure he flatted flicked him. And then Borel, not to be trifled with, decides to just flesh at him. That's the scary part of Borel. Anytime you're like remotely close, and he's tall too, so if you think you're close, you're already too close. Because he's closer to you than most people already are, and an absolute bull when he fleshes.
So, passivity counter is reset.
Yeah, there was there was actually a few like the judges. There's a few judges like making mistakes on the passivity clocks. They'd forget to reset it or something. Then yeah, the refereeing was actually a few people kind of found it questionable for a few. I knew for Epee, I don't know what was the consensus on foil or saber, but there were a few dodgy calls, as it were.
So, yes, I saw you put up a video about that actually.
So here I'm scared for Minobe. Like back here does not seem to. Oh, so now I'm less scared. Wow. It's like this is super cool. It's like so he puts his like it looks a little redundant, but this is a bit of a like please look here. While next one is just pretty much a straight attack to the thigh.
Who do you think has more reach?
Uh, I mean, I guess Minobe too. He's French grip, and like he has like the longest possible allowable French grip combination of pommel and grip. I will show them after the video, or after the once this is done. He's got one of the longest reaches, so not only is he short and fast, but like his reach is a little bit longer than most French grips.
So, a Borel attacks, I guess.
I would think so. Like usually, like once he gets like punished like that, his immediate thought is probably like, well, he can't attack if I'm attacking.
They'll be really flapping around sometimes. Very tricky.
Oh, really nice.
Ouch.
And like the Japanese are so technically proficient that if he ever decides to just kind of YOLO into them, odds are you're just like you're flipping a coin, but both sides are wrong. But here I feel like so this whole exchange for Borel anyway, like he's just overly preparing. I think he's not taking a shot at all. So this is more Borel style. Alright, so just he sees something and then he instantly abuses. Alright, so Minobe's being a little too careful, or like a little too wishy-washy. Holy crap, I'm too close. No chance. Alright, so you have to be really careful with Borel, because as soon as you get past, like imagine this line here. As soon as you get past this, if you haven't made the decision to hit, you're gonna get hit.
I guess is that Borel's overall.
Pretty much, like he used to,
Into...
like last year or maybe like before Tokyo, he used to be very like as soon as he would feel it, he would just attack constantly, and it became, relatively speaking, it became easier to bait it out, just because of the lack of discipline. But now he waits for it a bit more. Which makes him a bit more unpredictable. But like, just look at how like instant that is. Minobe's like, I'm gonna do a feint, and there's just this tip in your face.
It's looking like Borel is not going to step on his side of the piece very much this match.
No, definitely, I would say not. So even here, he's. Or so as Minobe here, especially as a French gripper, like you don't want to get here and wait for Borel's flesh in general, because at that point you're reacting.
This might be. Hang on, I have a question for
Yep.
you that I don't fully get. Borel coming forward like this, are those. Is he looking for the blade or is he trying to avoid the blade?
I would say looking, right? So it's not as much looking as it's much like he's kind of staying in this straight line. Like he's not actively looking. He's staying in this straight line to just kind of punch it out as soon as it like close that line as soon as he sees it. So with Minobe, you know he's gonna fence on the outside because he's lefty. So it just kind of looks like he's homing in, and as soon as he feels it, he's just gonna close high as I punch my camera. That makes sense? Right, so like if the parry shows up, he'll take it, but it's all with the tip.
And there at the end, he closed high, right, and hit,
That's
like you said.
pretty much. But the only problem is, so I like my initial feeling is he was going in, and he was probably looking to flesh, but Minobe just didn't want that to happen. Wait, did he hit? Okay, no, so we'll trust the machine in the back here. And he did, like, finish with a pretty high line. Like, if I, like, for Minobe here, I'm happy I got a double.
Still clinging on to the lead. He's really pushing.
Yeah, like, he's kind of starting to find it. So let's look at this tip again, actually, just to reinforce that point we made earlier. Right, see, it's like look how his tip's never really leaving kind of this circle. Because you don't want to be too wide with Minobe, because he's just going to absolutely eat you up. He's got a razor sharp tip.
How's Minobe for ducking counterattacks?
Very good. I'm surprised we haven't really seen it.
We'll probably try that on Borel all the time, though.
Deadly close. And then here, see where like, see, notice how our tips are past the line we made earlier? Oh boy.
Higher past. Higher past.
So it goes for the hand hit. Goes for another opposition hand high. He sees that Minobe is still off balance. Goes for blood and just kind of opposes high. So like Borel is just like, he's like a shark in water.
Big lunge. Right, now it's even. I guess they chill.
Okay, I think it's just Minobe being polite, but I think it's a pretty funny way to, like, get a little break when someone's pushing you. Like, his shoelace is undone, but I think he just has long shoelaces. I would imagine this is gonna go to time.
Okay. Oh, that's so tense.
This is already like, this is wild because like Minobe started off strong, and then off that Borel comes back strong. So now, in my mind, Borel kind of has like the momentum, as it were. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Makes sense. Well, I mean, I'm gonna guess he'll attack more now. It seems like it's a pretty good, pretty reliable.
Yeah, I think it's here. If Borel backs up, he's just not in control. What
So
about
will
oh,
Minobe
go ahead.
try to push him back then?
I
They
think
both try to attack now.
I honestly, this kind of I forgot this. Like I barely remember this match, which is probably a good thing. Um, I would say like if Minobe backs up, he needs to not like he needs to be here, but because he wants to be here, not because Borel's just like shoving it down his throat. So it'd have to be like either he backs up willingly to attack into him, or to know that the attack's coming. But Borel's gotten wiser with that over time, so let's see what'll happen. He
Oh,
doesn't want to back up. See how close that was. Wow. Not that close. But... Yeah, so this is kind of like what I mentioned. So, like, he goes for the hand, and then, like, Borel goes into attack, but, like, Minobe is perfectly balanced, or at least, right, relatively speaking. He's not, like, jumping up like he was earlier. So, when he can
goes
at least
again.
just, yeah, like, so he can at least get a double, so he's not as scared to be here. And worst case scenarios, like, if you're here, you at least have one more attempt to leave. Then like this angle doesn't do justice, but like Minobe really has his hand out, so he really gets that angle out there. Just left-handed things.
So that's his bread and butter. What he likes to do. Just
Yeah, so
that hit.
just a really nice counter attack and a really nice kind of hand flick on top. And then with that, once you're worried about the hand flick, he's really good at punishing you on the foot. So here, like I'm worried for Borel more than I am Minobe. Because yeah, he gets to dictate everything. Right, so now we've gone past this middle line where one of them does something. He goes for the foot, barely misses. So does Borel, actually. He's on a recovery. And now they're still at a distance where something can happen. But they're both really good, so they double out.
Sorry, I can't even remember. Has Minobe landed a flick on the hand?
Not
Back?
really, not yet anyway.
I didn't think so.
But it's kind of like he doesn't need to land them just because everyone knows he can. They have to be respected.
Sorry.
That's okay. So, yeah, there's like, I guess like, you gotta go back in the lore or whatever. Like, he's earned the right to have his hand hits
The lore.
respected.
Would these people have done research on each other?
1,000,000%, yes.
Okay. At this point in the match, do you think any of the research is still being used?
I would say so.
Okay.
So here, right? So here, like, this is what I meant. Like, Minobe is not at the back of the piece on his terms. He's here because Pearl wants him there.
Yeah, he was backed out. Oh, and there he goes.
And it happened so fast, right? From 57, it happened in 2 seconds. And now Minobe does not want to be here, so he's just frantically getting his point out, lunges to the thigh, and he's like, oh no. And he does have one, it's one of probably his more punishable things. When Minobe goes for a low hit, he very often comes back with a high six.
Uh,
So if I like one of the go-to actions, I could tell Borel would be like, if you're at the back of the strip, or if you get him to the back of the strip and he goes low, you can assume that it's going to be a high six after. That's how you were going to
do
say something? Yeah.
I remember seeing one highlight video from Epee a while ago where yeah, Korean fencer just remises the foot
Oh
till
yeah,
till
that
it
was
hits.
the Jung. The junk special against Lopez back when
That
he
seems
wasn't
like an
winning World Cup.
alternative to coming back with the sixth. Does Minobe ever, trick
It
people
depends
out and
on
just?
it depends on the fencer because you can't do that to Borel because he'll just flesh you. He's got the confidence to call you out. We'll look at the. We can actually look at that hit after. Actually, let's go find it. This is Lopez before he was winning World Cups. I believe this is like. So right, look at even just right. Lopez is just backing up, hand, and then Jung goes for the foot. And then like Lopez isn't like being aggressive at all with his tips, so Jung's like, I guess I'll stay. Oh, sorry. There you go. So he's like, okay, I can stay, right? See, there's no like, Lopez is just worried about his foot. He's not even thinking about everything else, and he's just looking for a parry. By now, Borel would have flashed 1,000,000%. Right, so he never feels threatened.
Oh wow, it's so cool.
And then that's a beautiful hit. But it requires a lot of confidence. I'm pretty sure. And then I know Jung's the kind of guy. He was so quick with this that like I feel like he would still be ready to just counterattack on the way out. But I don't think he felt threatened. All you saw was this blade waving in front of him as opposed to a tip really threatening him. So surprisingly passive now. You see how, so like here, right, he kind of relaxes and walks forward. And as soon as like this line's about to be crossed again, he's like, oh shit. Oh, I like the, like this, oh.
Is this Borel trying to tick down the passivity counter?
I think so, yeah. And at the same time, I think Borel doesn't want to force too much. He'd rather make Minobe force here. But in my opinion, I think Borel should be trying to push. And this is kind of like, see, so, right, for all you counterattackers out there, right, he goes to that distance where like we're past tip to tip. As soon as he's past that, he tries a counterattack if he's not ready.
Ooh, was the halt before?
Oh, let's, so. If that isn't that bout, oh,
Oh,
do they give it?
I can't wait to find out. Oh, they're going to video to
They
check.
have, but like, does the video? Can you hear the halt on those videos?
Can't remember.
Let's
I think there might
see.
be no
Okay.
audio.
Before we hear the verdict, do you think this should be good?
Well, does the ref stop the clock when it hits the passivity counter, or does the box stop the clock when it hits the passivity counter?
Ah, that's a good question. I think it depends on the boxes, because like some of the newer boxes, they have a countdown timer, and I have a feeling that since we're on piece blue 2, we're not on the main strips. We do not have the fancy boxes, so I think we're at the ref's discretion. Actually, you know what? So let's do that. So let's look at when the last hit was done. So we started at 51. Right, was it a hit at 51? Yeah, so if hit at 51. Or we're at 48. This should have been a halt
right,
4 seconds ago. So in my opinion,
Never mind
this
that.
hit should not be good. But the fact that the halt took 4 seconds to come is where our question comes in. So let's see.
I'm voting.
I'm voting it shouldn't be good, but looks like they give it. It shouldn't be good, but like it's because the last hit was at 51.
Epee seems understandably.
I think like no matter who gets it, someone's pissed off because something was not done right.
Bit late, a little bit late.
But the hit itself was great though, just because it was.
That's true.
Well, let's go back again. Right, so he never really leaves that circle. Of course I did that. Oh no. What did I just do?
It's alright. There's always video editing.
What did I do? Oh no. Alright. The magic. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. So like Minobe steps in. Step. But like Borel like doesn't bounce back that much. Like he kind of bounces in place. And he just gets him in. And then that's one of those like so like if a lefty takes 6 and you disengage a 6, you're obviously safe. But had Minobe just kind of done a stiff extension, that same motion actually ends up taking a sweeping septime, which is really powerful on lefties. With kind of the same tip drive. They give it. Minobe is probably understandably annoyed.
Real close.
Oh.
That's good.
So just a lot of pressure. So like right here already, we're past like that tip to tip. So whoever, wow, he knows. So he was allowed to sneak into from here. You need about a step to get here and a really hard lunge to get here. So I'm gonna have to be very. So I'm wondering. So here Minobe sneaks in and they stay there without anything happening, which is rare for Borel. So Minobe just absolutely is out for blood. Just watch it again, it was sick.
Oh, it's almost over in the second period. It'd be wild if they tied it up and then just moved on to the third. I don't think he wants to try that.
No, I don't think. Minobe is not that he's not risk adverse, but he's not the kind of guy who does something really crazy. So if anything, I would expect Borel to kind of just flesh for quote unquote no reason. Alright, so I don't like it's actually been like no one's ever like really taken full momentum. But like Borel wants to be here. Or at least asserting himself, and Minobe wants to be here, asserting himself. So to me, it's whoever like decides to back up that gets the slap.
Well, that makes for an exciting match.
Yeah, well, it makes it fun, but it's just funny that like let's say like you're in Minobe's shoes and you're like your coach is like, all right, dude, make Borel back up. And you're like, okay.
I'll do my best, coach.
Yeah, then like you're like coaching Borel and you're like, don't back up. And then he backs up and you're like, why are you backing up? You're like twice his size. This super active defense by Minobe. Nice.
And now it's even again.
It's like Borel's pushing, but now they've gone past. Like again, they kind of snuck into the distance where something can happen, and it seems to be on Minobe's turn. Really nice. So let's. They're staying here really long. But actually, like, since the tip is not quite at the hand, it might be the angle that's making us feel like they're closer than they should be.
Good point. Yeah, the video can be like that.
But then, yeah. So like, this is really active defensive. Look how well balanced. Like, you could like make an on guard video just off of this. And this is like textbook retreat and then bait in. Right, retreat. Opponent gets too close. Boom. So it wasn't even that deep of a lunge, relatively speaking. Because it hit like way before he even landed.
Borel came too far in, yeah.
I'd be curious to know, like, oh, so this is like where I feel like Borel's losing his mind a bit. He's just like, I'm gonna attack you. Like, I wonder what's stopping Borel from like just going in, because it felt like when he decides it, he gets to just pick the moment. But I was also talking about to Nick Zhang when he was fencing him. Because I never fenced Minobe at competition. I've only fenced him at practice, so maybe I didn't feel the same threat. But like Nick Zhang was like, every time I stepped forward, I felt like he was gonna hit my hand. So like there's a bit of a, I think there's an invisible pressure that you don't feel as much as a spectator. But like, yeah, Nick was just like, every time I stepped forward, like for some reason I just felt like there was this like little string pulling his tip to my hand. So there's something that's a bit harder to feel from the outside. Oh, really nice.
Ooh. And he has gone for the hand a lot, although we
Yeah.
haven't, seen him land. So that is frightening. It's like
Well, like they're always really close, right? It's like right underneath the bell guard.
exactly.
And then there's the threat of these attacks if you go in a little too wishy-washy. Oh, there's one of his deeper lunges. On this one, so what we said earlier, Minobe is now the one doing a really nice opposition on the way in. And then French grip power, he gets to use his length. Because like, realistically, Borel, like, he was not quite in the wrong, but French grip hits first.
That's crazy that he has more reach. What a difference.
So these are wild. These are like, if Minobe were to not get a double here, it's like, it's kind of his own fault for not being ready.
No, that's not improved things for Borel.
But like at this point, like if I'm Borel, like oh man, doubles suck. Oh, that was hype. So like all of a sudden, so like the whole bout, everything is happening on one side of the strip or not, and all of a sudden Minobe is like giving tempo right here. And usually when you give tempo here, it's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors. So it's just whoever's right first, and Borel just got really caught off guard. Alright, so let's break it down. Foot barely misses, leaves but just plants himself, and then just instantly flicks back up top. And I guess it kind of feels like Borel missed a little bit, but Minobe was more in the right. So good tactic here. Switch your weapon. You're not feeling it. I find that you see a lot in foil. I feel like every time something just doesn't work, foils are like, take my weapon, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you see a lot of foilers with like 7 foil.
Jeremy Sinop was a great one for that. Like 4 or 5 per bout.
Whatever,
like,
just take it. I've seen Minobe do this a few times. Minobe will go to the extent where he'll be like, I need to change my wire. I think my wire is not working. It's like Minobe is in the driver's seat here.
Very aggressive.
Oof. Ooh. So like, when Minobe, like easier said than done, when Minobe is not in control of his balance, Here's like, see, here's not retreating on his terms. He's retreating because Borel is dictating that he will be retreating. Because here I'm less scared because Minobe is retreating because it feels like he wants to retreat.
He's not being chased by Borel.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, so that's a good double, right? So, foot, leave, he's in balance.
What a huge flash.
Foot, leave, balance. Oh man, so now this is like, oh, I hate fencing under French grips. It's here, like, the double.
Ah, right, yeah. Borel's in big danger.
I guess this is like, I feel like he really felt that for the end, because like he got this foot, and then top, he got that one twice as a single in the last 5, and I think once as a double. So this was also really funny, like the Japanese coach was going wild, because he basically knew that he just got a medal.
Right.
Because the next 2 bouts in that bracket were all Japanese team kills up until the. Did I keep the tableau? Oh, no, I didn't. But yeah, so the Japanese coach was like, "Yes, I just got a medal, and we're only in 16." So like, because the next one was Yamada Minobe, and after that, I guess Kano had to win his next one. But like, he was basically borderline guaranteed a medal because it was all Japanese team kills after that, which is pretty hype. All right, what do you got? What kind of questions you got for this, if any?
Why didn't he try the ducking?
The
Do you think?
ducking?
Yeah,
I think
that didn't seem to be that much.
it's really hard to duck. Um, like when you're being pushed here, from personal experience, it's really hard to duck like that. Because you're
Oh, yeah, 'cause
reacting.
you'll
You
fall
don't want to.
over.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't want to duck reactively. You want to duck because you triggered it. And against Borel, it's very hard to trigger it. So I could
He
show.
comes forward too quickly.
Let's see if I can show some examples of me getting absolutely slammed on a duck. Ah, Seclosi, so. Right, so even there, I felt like my action. So on Seclosi, there's. Right, so on Seclosi, my last hit, I was ducking reactively. Right, I was backing up. I was not triggering him to flesh. Like, I was just like, oh shit, he started, and it was too late. I'm supposed to, I believe, was it this one? Yeah, so this one, I was a bit more ready for it. Right, I do a big feint, then I leave the distance, but then as soon as I go in, I'm like, oh, I could just kind of feel it, and I really just get it. Like, he completely misses. And then being able to trigger that on a guy like Borel is really, really hard. So I think, like, yeah, ducking is, it can give you a false sense of security. And I actually, like, the more unless I know I can get it, now I try to avoid it. But if you watch Canon, he's really good at it, but even against Loyola, like, he didn't duck at all. So it really depends on your opponent.
Okay.
And then I guess also, like, the way Borel attacks is just really, he has, like, we can watch some of his attacks if we find one. But you'll see that he has a really good tip penetration. So even this attack, right? So, like, he really attacks with his tip driving in, right? So even if you duck, unless you're like actively doing the splits, odds are you're gonna get slapped. That's my 2 cents on that. All right, so let's call it on that. So that's the our epee portion. Stay tuned for me being really lost at foil. And let's call it there. Do you have any well, I guess it's going on your channel, so shout out to your own channel. Perfect.